Today is January 23rd, 2019, and I am interviewing Mr. Dean Scarbrough in Farmer City, Illinois. Mr. Scarbrough is 94 years old, having been born on December 20th, 1924. My name is Sue Burkholder, and I will be the interviewer. Mr. Scarbrough, would you please state for the recording the war that you served in and the branch of service that you served in?
I served in World War II. I was in the Army. I was in the infantry.
Okay. All right. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born, and about your parents and what they did?
I was born here in Farmer City. And I'm one of 8 kids, the oldest one. And I'm still living. Most of them's gone. Mm. And my dad was an auctioneer and livestock dealer. Mm-hmm. And my mother was a homemaker. Okay. I guess that's about it.
Okay. Did any of your siblings serve in the military?
Yeah, one brother.
One brother, okay.
He was in the Korean War.
Okay. And,
well, I had 2 boys in Vietnam.
Oh, okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what was your occupation, or what were you doing before you entered the service?
It was kind of depression time, and we hadn't come out of it yet. And I was just gypsying around here and there and helping Dad and so on and so forth.
Okay.
I quit school at 16, and I got my diploma, high school diploma, when I was 79 years old.
Well, congratulations on that. So did you enlist, or were you drafted?
I was drafted.
Okay. And how did you feel about being drafted?
Well, I don't know. I just drafted. The rest of them going, so I just drafted.
Mm-hmm. So when you first tell us how you got to your basic training. What was it like, and how did you travel there?
I reported at Fort Sheridan, Illinois, north of Chicago, the 5th day of January. There was 4 of us from Farmer City. We was offered 21-day leave before we went in service. 3 of us took it. 1 of them went on. Then when I arrived at Fort Sheridan in 21 days, I was walking along, and a fellow from Farmer City at one time transferred his draft board to Chicago. He come and walk. I was going to eat, and he said, "Scarbrough, where the hell are you going?" So we wound up 4 of us went to basic together. We arrived in Fort McClellan, Alabama, early in the morning. Went by troop train, and they give us a pep talk where in the 12 weeks we'd be going overseas into combat. I was young. I didn't care. Make any difference to me. I thought I'd get more training than that. But anyway, then they came down and said it's going to give us 14 weeks, and we was going to combat. If we went to Fort Meade, Maryland, we was going to Europe. If we went to Fort Ord, California, we was going to Pacific. Let's see. Then they came down and said 17 weeks, and we was on the way. And they did, 17 weeks basic training. I trained in the infantry. I was basically a machine gunner on a 30 caliber or a mortarman. It's heavy weapons. But I had training in all infantry weapons. The M1s and the grenades and all that stuff. We had training in all that. And 17 weeks in, we came home for a few days, and then went overseas. I went from here to Fort Meade, Maryland, Camp Kilmer, New Jersey, boarded ship and went to Southampton. And I went to Liverpool, England, and then they was only there a couple, 3 days. They sent me down to Southampton, England. I went across the channel and up Omaha Beach. I got to the top of Omaha Beach. One guy from here and I were buddies. They separated us. I went the 29th and he went the 8th. And nobody knew where anybody was at. And you had to have a buddy. So I lost my buddy there. So I got down to Company H. We had a pretty big sergeant, stout sergeant there. He said we had the hell whipped out of St. Lo, and I need machine gunners. Another one said we had hell whipped out of St. Lo, and I need mortarmen. I looked over a little guy by the name of Miller from Springfield, Ohio. And I said, Henry, I guess you and I said, I gotta have a buddy, how about it? He said, all right. I said, let's go to the machine gun section. We got into this thing to see action, or we'll see action there. Mm-hmm. So we went to the machine gun section. And then I was there. I was in the second platoon, first squad. And let's see. We finished cleaning up around St. Lo, just a few days, and they sent us down to Brest, France, Brest, France, and it was a submarine. Hitler had us for a submarine deal, and they could have held out for a long time, but they did. They finally gave up in about 30 days. It's pretty wicked down there. And so I got my back hurt there a little bit, and I was one of those guys, you get a Purple Heart, I believed if you lost a leg or something, you should have it. If you had a scratch, you just didn't deserve it. I've seen too many boys get scratches and get the Purple Heart. All kinds of medals when they didn't deserve it, actually. But I didn't believe in that, so I didn't turn it in. And my sergeant carried my backpack, and when the Brest gave up, then we had a few days leave, rest, and they transferred us up to edge of Germany, Erling, Holland, up in there. And we went into battle there just north of Aachen. Cracked the Siegfried line in a couple of places, and then we went on across Germany. And I hurt then again at Türzburg, and I didn't turn it in. Made a mistake, I should have. And I went to the little Repo-Depot hospital for a few days. They took care of me. So then I met the Russians on the Elbe River. And then they pulled me back from the Elbe River. They brought the 29th Division back to Bremen and Bremerhaven enclave. That's the only dock that Hitler had, a shipping dock. And that was in May 45. And we guarded there. And I'd walked since I'd been in there, so I said to the sergeant, I said, I've walked ever since I've been in this man's army. I'd like to get in a motor pool and drive a Jeep. And he said, I'll help you do that. So he did. So I went to motor pool then. They assigned me a Jeep. I was still with H Company. I just was transferred to motor pool. Then they put me on detached service. All I had to do was post guards. So I did that then until November. And I didn't have enough points to come home or to come home, so I was transferred to 78th Division in Berlin. And I was sent to Berlin, so I was there 2 months. Then I came home.
So, when you were in these battles, how was it for you? How did you feel during? I mean, when you were actually in the middle of fighting and
you never knew when the next one was going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
You got artillery shells coming in, tree burst, and then you had small arms coming in. You had machine gun fire coming in. You're making attacks, you count the goddamn bullets all around you. One run the next is going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. Seen a lot of boys get killed. Seen a lot of them come out of the tank or they were shot coming out. I seen paratroopers dropping down, get shot in the air. You name it, I've seen it all. I've seen stacks of dead soldiers. Americans, Germans, all together. The great administration would take care of them. Time or two, we'd have to pick our own up and take them back. In order to find a dead soldier, if you had an M1 rifle, they took his helmet, put the bayonet or his trench knife or bayonet on the rifle, stick it in the ground, then put a helmet on top of the rifle, and you could tell there's a dead man over there. We fought at night a lot. You couldn't see. The man ahead of you had a white patch on the back of his helmet. You follow that through. And I don't know. I don't care about talking about all of it.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's pretty wicked.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. War is hell.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm talking about World War II now. I'm not talking about any other wars. All
right.
wars are fought different.
Mm-hmm. And how did you feel about the whole war?
How feel about it?
How did you feel about the whole idea of World War II? Was that something that just, well, how did you feel?
Well, I was drafted, had a duty to do, so
Sure.
that was it.
Yeah.
I done what I was supposed to do to the best of my ability.
Right.
And I never got in trouble a time or two, didn't have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just there for a purpose, and that was it. If I lived, I lived. If I didn't, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So, where were you right before you came back to the United States?
I was in Berlin.
Berlin, okay. And again, was it in Berlin you,
I was driving the guard. I was driving in Bremen. I was driving a guard jeep, posted guards. And they want to serve 4 hours on and 8 hours off. So I take the guards out every 4 hours and post them, and then I'd pick them up. I take them out and I go back take others out and then pick those up. And I did that down there, and then I had nobody. All I'd done was I had a job to do, and I did it, and nobody bothered me. I was on detached service. Mm-hmm. And then in Berlin, I hauled the garbage out, the garbage dump. And that was pitiful too. Big old garbage dump. And you dump the garbage from the kitchen out there, and little kids out there trying to get something to eat. The old folks pushing them out of the way, and they're trying to get coffee, soap, bread, anything they can get to eat. Mm-hmm. They're just trying to get it. It's bad. Mm-hmm. No, I've seen it. Anything you want to mention, I've seen. I've seen it all. Wintertime, the corpses would be stacked up behind the building someplace, back behind the lines of rest area. You never was very far back. But you walk around the building, might be a big stack of dead, just stacked one on top of another. Mm-hmm. And they handle them like bale hay. In the wintertime, it's froze. They just pick them up and throw them. And they didn't have time to take care of them. No, anything you want to mention, I've seen.
So when your time was over and you were heading back to the United States, how did that take place? When you were in done in Berlin, that was your last duty.
Okay.
And you were then headed back to the United States? Is that correct?
I was in Berlin, and I got a call. Tell me, be ready to go home tomorrow morning. Out of the blue sky. I didn't know it. I got ready to come home. Fog. So I delayed the plane. The next day I flew out of Berlin. I flew into Brussels, then to Paris, and I caught a train to Le Havre. Herbert Terran. They named all the camps after cigarettes. So Herbert Terran, I came out of Herbert Terran then.
And then when you came back to the United States?
I came back to Camp Kilmer, and they sent me to Fort Sheridan. And I was discharged at Fort Sheridan. I come home 21 days and went back, but I was discharged out of Fort Sheridan.
Okay. All right, then how did it feel to be discharged and completely out?
Well, I don't know. We came home. We didn't talk about the war. We went to girlfriends up and got married and raised a family and went to work. And that's what we did. That's what I did anyway. And now today they want a pension as soon as they get out, and I know I go to the VA. They tell me these things. They want a pension as soon as they get out, and they want this and that, and they have an argument. And the trouble with the people going to the VA, a lot of that trouble is theirs. They don't make their appointments. And you miss about 2 appointments, and you got to start all over again. But,
so it wasn't difficult, or when you came home, was there any difficulty switching back to being?
I didn't get you.
When you finally did come home and were out, was there any difficulty switching back to being a civilian mindset?
I came home on 21 days. I think it's 21 days furlough. I came home at the 31st of. I got here 31st of January, colder than hell, big snow on the ground, and you don't want to hear this, but anyway, I came home and I didn't have any money, and I always wanted a truck. And I was livestock business, I always wanted a truck. So the guy here in town wanted to sell his. And I had a truck before I went with a small truck, but this guy had a little semi. And Dad and I decided to go partnership. I went to the bank, and I said, I'd like to have a GI loan. I can get one. He said, we're not going to do that. We're going to loan you the money. So I borrowed the money there and bought a truck. I owned a truck before I ever got discharged. In fact, I was operating before I got discharged the whole 21 days.
So then that was what you did? That was your profession when you
Well,
got out?
I was an auctioneer, livestock deal, all around livestock. Dad was and I was. I used to know quite a bit about it, but I don't anymore. I've been away from it for so long. And always around livestock. And I hauled a lot of livestock in Chicago. The farmers here everybody had a bunch of cows and hogs and stuff. And now it's all big farmers. And rent another 160, I get rid of my cows. Rent another 160, I get rid of some more. I got rid of all of them. And I seen that coming in '73, and I quit. I didn't have enough customers to pay a license on my truck. That's all I did with livestock. Out of the area into Chicago and Indianapolis. And I could have stayed in if I wanted to haul long distance, but I didn't want to do that. And so I quit livestock in '73.
And then what did you do after that?
After that, my folks, my mother inherited 7 shares of a cemetery out of South Town, a nice cemetery. And they didn't like the way it's being operated, so along the line they bought a few shares here and there. And only about 60, they wound up with 48 shares, I think. And Dad said to me, what are we going to do? I got to clean that cemetery up. It's going to hell. And I said, if you get 3 more shares, you give me 1. And the next board meeting, we'll take over. So that's what we did then. So that was in 60, 61. But I still trucking then. So I helped out there a little bit. And then in 73, I went out there full time, brother and I. We didn't make any money, but we took care of the cemetery. Cemetery don't make money. Then in 05, I got the cemetery in my name, and I give the shares to the family and so on and so forth. I was an auctioneer too, clear up till I lost everything. And then my help died off, and I lost my help. I lost my brother. He was my clerk. I lost him in 02, and the other brother had emphysema, and he couldn't help me anymore. He died in 05, 04, and my wife was the cashier. She died in 04, so I lost all my help. And I just couldn't do it no more, so I had to give it up.
And you mentioned earlier. Go ahead.
In the summertime, I had 2 brothers here helping me. And I worked on the rodeo and Wild West show. And outfit out of here. I had a good job there. I started out as a flunky. Every time he said I needed help, I said I could do that. So I wound up being foreman. So I stayed with him 27 years, and he died, and that was the end of that. You in there, Bob?
Yep.
Over there by the telephone, get one of his picture. So I wound up then working for them.
He dressed up.
Give it to her.
You can keep it. He dressed up this Christmas for the grandkids and stuff that never saw him.
My kids
That's one of his
never
old
seen me.
outfits.
My kids never seen me dressed. I was always away. I was away. I left here in June, got back in October. Never seen the kids. I seen my wife a couple times. And it was after about 10 years. And I find a side of Christmas, I get my paraphernalia out and get dressed. That's what I do.
I believe you mentioned you joined a veterans organization. You were talking about, I believe, a little earlier.
I belong to Legion. Dad had signed me up. I'd come out, and I've been in Legion ever since. And they did a firing squad. Why, I don't know. They picked me as one of them. The first firing squad they had. Then they organized a firing squad then. Some of them didn't want to stay and some did. So I stayed, and I'm still a member of the firing squad, but I can't march anymore. I didn't dress one year, and they gave me a little hell for it, so I've been dressing ever since. And 70-some years, whatever it is. And never missed a Memorial Day parade. Never missed a Memorial Day. I always made it a point to be there. On the last one of the firing squad, they're all gone. The original firing squad. Last one on the Kennedy Rodeo too. They're all gone.
I noticed you had your hat there.
Yeah, I got it.
You wanna?
I get a lot of compliments on it. That's 29th Division, World War II, 29th Infantry, that's what it is. And I had 4 battle stars. I fought in 4 major battles.
Okay.
And it's been so long since I don't know what those are. But I had the Bronze Star. And this here is a combat instruments badge.
Mm-hmm. Let me turn it so they can see it as you're talking about it. So that's the combat infantry badge right there. And the Bronze Star. And your battle stars.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Uh-huh. And what was this again?
That's 29th Division.
That stands, okay.
That's the patch we wore on our
The
shoulder.
patch, okay. And then on this side?
That's the honor flight.
Okay.
I took that in 12.
Uh-huh.
That's just odds and ends I picked up.
Okay.
Right there.
So your honor flight thing, so. Okay, there you go.
This here, with the wreath around it, that's the combat badge.
Mm-hmm.
That paid me $10 a month to fight. Extra. Without that, when you graduate from school, they give you just the rifle.
Okay, sure.
You get just the rifle. So you're authorized to wear that. But when you go into combat then, they issue this one with the wreath. And that's a combat badge.
Okay, let me show that again, so, as you're talking about it.
Now everybody's in infantry don't have the combat badge. Just the front line troops. I didn't know that. I was reading a book.
There you go.
I've been reading it. See, we didn't know too many people. By division, if it was full strength, they had 20,000 people. But all I knew was just a small group.
Mm-hmm.
And we was always together all the time. I mean, if it was live, and this coming and going like flies, you may never know the man's name. You may come in tonight and be gone tomorrow, might be killed or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so you didn't know anybody, actually, but just a handful of people. Now, I have a number of 29th Division books. That's what I was interested in. And I've been reading those, and I'm learning more from that than I did when I was in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
But this gives you details of what other people are doing. It took 25 people to keep one man on the front lines when I was in, because you got your cooks and everything else behind you. It just took 29 people to get one man on the front line. 20,000 people, they wasn't near all those on the front lines. You have artillery that's way back behind. There's still 29th Division, but they're artillery. They're maybe 10 miles behind or what. I don't know what they were. I know we used to get them all the time when we come back. We was on the front line and they had a tent out they could live in. We didn't have. We had a hole. We used to get them all the time. But those lived on back, they lived pretty good. I mean, they had hot meals and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have.
So, is there anything that you can think of that experience that you had in the service that have affected your life or kind of guided your life after the service?
It never bothered me. I'm whatever, sat here by myself. And I sat there looking at 4 walls. And the last year or so, it's been eating on me a little bit. I get to thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that, but I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. I got a good mind, but I don't want to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid it's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I got a good family. They're educated, some of them, I got nurses and everything else to help me. I got all kinds of good help. I'm luckier than everybody else. But when you go out to dinner, it's just family.
Mm-hmm.
My generation, is all in the cemetery. The next generation is about all in the cemetery. And I got nobody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I can't sit at the restaurant table and talk about livestock because nobody has any.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't talk about trucking because it's a different world out there now.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about trucking now, so I'm whipped. I got nothing to talk about. And you get down another generation, don't give a damn about us.
Mm-hmm.
I see people uptown, and I say, come down and see me. Oh, well, that's it. And I got one young lady who comes over once in a while to see me. She's married, got 3 kids. And she comes once in a while. And that's about it. The other day, I get a letter from a lawyer in Champaign on estate planning. I went one time. It done me some. I didn't hire him, but the conversation done me some good. But anyway, a pastor of a church, a reverend preacher, he was up around, I don't know, my age or so. He taught in this church, preached in this church for, it told how many years. He had a big congregation, a lot of friends, and he said, I retired, nobody comes to see me. Everybody's busy. They don't visit anymore. And TV and computers has whipped us. And I can't get around very good. The only place there's no place to loaf anymore. We used to have loafing places here in town. No place to loaf. So I try to get to the restaurant a couple times a day, get a decent meal or something to eat. But that's about as far as I got. I get to the VA, they're good to me. I have good luck there. And is that camera still going? Maybe you want it off.
You're fine.
And,
this is your story.
Well, they might not want to listen to my rambling. I don't know.
Well, I was just going to ask you, is there anything that you would like to tell, like any of a future generation that might see or hear your interview? Is there anything you would like to say to them?
I say they ought to teach it at school so people knows what went on. People don't realize when you walk up to a hedgerow and the rifleman jump over to take off and they get shot, 7 of them right there, laid there, you can't get to them, swell up. Or they get shot coming out of a tank, and as I said before, paratroopers coming down get shot. I've seen all that, and people don't realize that. My kids, my wife, I was married almost 57 years, and I never did mention it last year or two, never mentioned it. And this boy here, one of my kids, he knows more than all the rest of them together because he's been helping me drive around the last couple of years. And he's learned more than last. He's the only one who knows anything about it. I said to my daughter the other night, did you read that article? That's just partial. That's just partial. That's just nothing. I'll tell you more. Shut that camera off after a while. I'll tell you more about that. But that's just a partial. And I said to her, did you read that? Oh, everybody done that in the service. She's wrong. Everybody in the service, yes, but everybody didn't do that in the service. Just a few of them. And so, because she made me a little bit mad the other night, she told me that. Oh, you just service like all the rest of them.
Well, I do want to thank you for your time today and for sharing your story. And I'm sure you've heard it a time or two, but thank you very much for your service. And it was a sacrifice that you made, and we do appreciate that.
I'm just luckier than hell I'm here. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
And I come home in good shape.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.